Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fraper Heart Children. And that's you, and that's you, and that's me, and that's me. All be. So 2 T tags, and like I said, we're doing the Sing and Rail series. This is the author, Wayne Erbsen. And we're like on the third little story. The death of Edward Lewis. This was supposed to be fun, and then I forgot, oh, railroads are pretty dangerous. So, even more so back then. So we got smiling is the most basic kind of piecework. There was another video I did, but I think I erased it. I don't remember. And I didn't have my glasses, and I looked, and it was darker, and I looked down. I thought it said smiting is the most basic kind of piecework, and that threw me, but it wasn't that. It was smiling. And unity is the way of grace and harmony. And we have the death of Edward Lewis. I think I just want to make, yeah, because Casey Jones was the last one. So to get you up to pace, if you're here, a few. We did Cannonball Blues, Lincoln's Ghost Train. I don't know if I read Railroad Fever, the beginning of it. Oh no, we did. That was good. Yeah. Then Casey Jones. And this is improv, so that means I didn't open it until from last week or last Friday or whenever it was. And we're just going to read it. And then I'll try to do a tune. It most likely won't be the right tune to what the song really is. But the next train, it left 10 minutes ago. And I'm going to read on the one side first, and then we'll get into or maybe we better just do it in order. Only fools want to travel all the time. Sensible men want to arrive. Metternich. Metternick. Though originally set to the Southern Mountain tune, this is kind of like I don't have an engineer's hat or anything, caboose, like the old time, but that would be fun. I think I had one once, but that was a long time ago. Though originally set to the Southern Mountain tune, Sourwood Mountain, this version of The Death of Edward Lewis sports a spooky melody. The ballad was apparently written after Lewis's death in 1937 by Jack Hartley and sung around Asheville, North Carolina. Lewis was, I wondered if it was Louis, but Lewis was engineer of the first engine on the Litchfield Railroad, number 99. His train is said to have carried his coffin to his gravesite beyond Mount Mitchell in the Nolichucky Valley of Tennessee. Nolichucky? Nolichucky. Valley of Tennessee. I learned the song from Dick Terrier. If you want to see the author, my nails aren't painted right. Just doing cleaning and stuff, and they're all chipped now. The song is, I'll just read the first verse because I'm going to try to see. It says spooky melody, but maybe it was changed by, it's like one beat. I don't know if that's a quarter. No, like oh, we'll hear a different signal up and down the Clinchfield line. Why did I do that? That's that old nursery rhyme. Since the land of Edward Lewis pulls no more Old Faithful 99. Oh my God, that's not what it's supposed to be, you guys. Oh, we'll hear a different signal up and down the chalk field line since the hand of Edward Lewis pulls no more. We just have to go with whatever tune that was. It was from another tune. All right, here we go. It's a lot. Oh no. Oh, we'll hear a different signal up and down the Clinchfield line. Since the hand of Edward Lewis pulls no more, old faithful 99. Now he's gone into the station at the end of life's long run, where there's joy and peace eternal for a life of labor that's well done. But we'll miss him, yes, we'll miss him, up and down the Clinchfield line. But we never can call him back to Ronald Faithful 99. It was up in Old Turkey Valley, where the Lundfield River sweeps round the peaks of old Mount Mitchell. She vainly calls for him that sleeps. We will miss and will wonder if he sees the Clitchfield line, if he hears the plaintive calling of his dear old engine 99. For he's gone into the station out beyond the twinkling stars, where there'll be no more worrying, pulling trains of heavy loaded cars. One stretch of track was so crooked, we met ourselves coming back. That was just a little phrase at the bottom there. The ant who stopped a freight train. It's probably just a joke. Strange but true, in September 1930, train number 41 of the Southern Line was stopped by a red signal on the main line. Though it had the right-of-way, it was finally discovered that a large red ant had crawled in between the contact points of the signal and kept the train at a standstill. The ant, though fried, had stopped the freight train in its tracks. I don't know about that, but all right, that's what they say. An engineer of a train loaded with cattle knew that the cowboy foreman had never been aboard a train before, so he decided to play a trick on him. He fired up the engine and whipped his train around the curves as if it were a black snake. The conductor of the train knew what was up and kept a close eye on the perspiring cowboy. When the ears of the foreman had taken on a slightly greenish color, the railroader inquired innocently if they were going to fast for him. They were going to fast for him. Heck yes, the cowboy exploded. Heck yes, the cowboy exploded. I don't know about the gent that's hurting this thing. Personally, I'd rather get to Kansas City an hour late than get to Hades on time. Uh-oh. He thought he was maybe going to hell when he dies. See, that's the thing, too, is I think some people think, or they're pretty sure they did, like if they do a lot of really gruesome murders or something, but they can just continue onward. I don't really get it. But, I mean, they're running most of the world, so. Well, anyhow, that was it. That's all we have. It was a whole 9 minutes. Thank God. Did we forget something? Maybe we should go onward bound. The eastbound train. Let's do it. And we would be on page 11 to 12, I mean. The eastbound train. In an era of total and utter sentimentality. Professional songwriters of the 1890s had a field day supplying the public with ballads which touched the heart and moistened the eye. In such a vein was Going for a Pardon, with words by James Thornton and Clara Haunschild, Haunschild, and music by James Thornton. With the coming of the Roaring Twenties, however, the blush of popularity of the sentimental ballad began to fade. Flappers danced to the rhythms of a jazzy beat, while the songs of that had tugged at the heartstrings only a few years before now seemed relegated to a tin pan alley wastebasket. Oh my. That's always sad to see. Like I didn't see the new West Side Story. Maybe it was great, but I highly doubt it. You know what I mean? But the first one, nobody can compare. At the same time, the urban Americans were turning their backs on the old sentimental music. Southern rural singers embraced them. Growing up with parents who remembered and sang some of the maudlin English ballads, singers now embraced these sentimental songs as their own. They alone kept this type of mushy old time song alive at the very time the rest of the country seemed bent on rushing headlong into the jazz age. The first Southern musician to record Going for a Pardon was Doc Walsh of Wilkes County, North Carolina. Do you notice all of them out of North Carolina? A lot of it. In October of 1925, he recorded it for Columbia with lyrics that were considerably different from Thornton's original version. This is 3/4 time, and I don't know what that would mean nowadays. All right, the eastbound train. Oh goodness, I'm gonna mess it up. The eastbound train was crowded one cold December day. The conductor shouted tickets in an old-fashioned way. A little girl in sadness, her hair was bright as gold. She says, I have no ticket, just a little story told. My father, he's in prison, he's lost his sight. They say I'm going for his pardon on a cold December day. My mother's daily sewing to try to earn all bread, while poor dear old blind father's in prison almost dead. My brother and my sister would both be very glad if I could only bring back my poor dear old blind daddy again. And she did her own thing, and I don't know what, but I did. That's what improv is when you sing. The conductor could not answer, he could not make reply, but taking his rough hand and wiping the teardrops from his eye, he said, God bless you, little one, just stay right where you are. You'll never need a ticket while I'm on this car. The eastbound train was crowded one cold December day. The conductor shouted tickets in an old-fashioned way. Boop a doop a doop a doop a boop boop boop. The Legend of Daddy Joe. And then here's a picture of one of the conductors. This is for that one. And this book came from someone that John knows at work, and I think they've worked together a long time. Just the page before. Oh, it's just a little sketch. All right, so the Legend of Daddy Joe. The greatest porter of them all was a legendary Daddy Joe. Of course, no one ever actually saw him in person, but stories of his adventure were told whenever porters gathered to swap tall tales. On one trip on the Central Pacific, hostile Indians attacked the train at a water tank. Daddy Joe is said to have climbed on top of his car and in thunderous tones talked the Indians into quiet submissiveness. Climbing down from the car, he then handed each chief and sub-chief a Pullman blanket. With the Indians subdued, the train went on its merry way. That wasn't the one blankets, right? Okay. She had to ruin it more. But anyways, there's a story of the Legend of Daddy Joe. And that was fun. I had fun. That's really, I don't want to say that's all that matters on my show, but it really kind of is at this point. Freight Train Boogie. Oh, goodness. Come on, folks. Come on, let's do it. If we stay at home and mind our business, who will want railroads? Henry David Thoreau. And we'll just read what we'll be doing. Maybe it'll keep me going. Because I'm not bored, but 12 to 13, maybe we'll do one of those where we just get right through some of it. Freight Train Boogie is a boogified version of Casey Jones. It was composed by Rabin and Alton, the Delmore brothers, under the pseudonyms of Jim Scott and Bob Nobar. Assisting them on the recording of the song was veteran performer Wayne Raney, R-A-N, E-Y, Renee, who provided the train sound effects on his harmonica. And I do have a harmonica, but it might not be in the right key. I don't know if it was a blues. We'll see. And if I can remember that, where it is, usually I have it where I can find it. And because it's so important to know where a harmonica is, but maybe lose your something important, you know. That there is such a useless thing of mine. But I did have to learn hiding places when I was young for money and stuff, so it got hardwired, and because there were sticky fingers in the house, so you had to hide stuff, and I would think I already would have had a problem losing stuff sometimes, but I think it made it worse. So, and John actually helps me with it. So he'll be like, I bet you put it in a special place. And I bet if you just, wait on it, you'll remember. And he's right, usually. Have a good one.